Hello, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is. If you're in the US, happy 4th of July. If you're watching this and you're not having some kind of party, obviously in the UK, 4th of July means nothing to me, but hope you're having a good time. So in this presentation, I'm really aiming at people who are already good at sales calls. You know everything, you know all the theory, yet for some reason you're not signing up the people you want. And I've created a fancy PowerPoint to actually show you how to do this. So let me just share my screen there. You should be able to see that nicely. Let me just find my PowerPoint. I'm also going to be keeping an eye on my phone because I've got the presentation on there as well. So if you make comments, I will answer them periodically anyway. So the question is, do you close clients on your sales calls? So 1 second. There we go. Do you close clients on your sales calls like a total boss? And clearly that is me being a total and utter boss right there. Because obviously I've got shades on indoors and a leather jacket. You don't get cooler than that. And that's me closing a deal right there on the spot. It's definitely not me taking a selfie, pretending to talk on the phone. Or are you like me there, like a total pathetic, worthless slug, not closing anyone? So obviously I'm joking about the worthless, pathetic slug part. But one question that really does stand out here is, how come is it that so many folks know the right way to have sales conversations? They know how to structure a call, how to dig into the pain, how to make a pitch, how to overcome objections, and yet, despite all this, they still aren't enrolling customers into their courses, their programs, their offers, or whatever's. Or if they are enrolling people, it's nothing like the numbers they want. It feels like every person who enrolls is like swimming uphill. It just feels really, really hard work. Loads of objections, loads of hard work, and it's almost like it should be easier than this. You know something is wrong. So we'll come back to the answer on that in a second, but first, let's take a quick look at the wrong way to do this. And it's the way most courses are teaching right now. It's a way that worked nicely in 2016, 2017, maybe even last year, but nowadays, people are getting wise to this stuff, and you'll see this in this example. So this is a message one of my former clients sent me on Messenger last week, obviously posted with permission. So he says how I had an interesting and frustrating conversation. This guy, I've been following him for years. He teaches how to run Kanban boards and software workflows to help you become more time efficient. As I said, I've been following his stuff for years, and then he stopped all his blog posts and newsletters for the past 2 years. Then out of the blue, he started emailing again with his newsletter and productivity tips. I was pleasantly surprised and replied to the email saying, welcome back. The guy replied back and said, let's have a chat on a house. So he didn't really contact him asking for help, but he did say, hey, I'm glad to have you back. I enjoy your stuff. So this is so far so good. This is how I teach how to do things on the ecosystem. It's about posting in the right way on Facebook, or whichever your social media platform of choice is. Mine is Facebook. Posting in the right way so you get what Jay Abraham calls the strategy of preeminence. So people see you as being an authority. So you want to know about sales? Well, Jay Abraham is preeminent. People respect him automatically. And anything he brings out on sales, you'll buy it, or a lot of people will buy it because it's Jay Abraham. That's the position you want to be in, where you've got that automatic authority. So this is a guy who's got automatic authority in this area around software workflows and Kanban boards. Not really something I know about, but he's got authority with my prospect. The prospect respects him and likes him. So this is a great start. So on the call, he says, the call started, I showed him my stuff for around 15 minutes. He then started asking me questions such as, if you optimized your work even further, how much time would that give you with your family? Can you put a price on family time? How much are you missing out on right now? And then the guy goes on to say he felt irritated. This was a sales call and he was trying to pitch me and doing a crap job at it. I approached him because I read his book, I watched his YouTube channel, and pretty much consumed all of his content. So I had a high opinion of him. His teachings are gold, but there was zero chance of me even signing up, as he was visibly nervous. So this proves what I was saying before, which is he already had that preeminence. He had that respect. He had that feeling of, wow, this guy is an authority in my world. So he didn't need to do a lot to make a sale. Yet he stuffed it up by trying to do what all of those other programs are teaching right now, which is bring out the pain. So he says, it was a lousy call. He didn't even have an opinion on my workflows and such, so I pretty much wasted my time. So the prospect says he feels he wasted his time because the guy didn't offer any specific advice, just generic pain point prodding. And both parties end up losing out because obviously the guy doesn't make a sale and the prospect doesn't feel like he got any progression forward with his problem. So he says, got apologies for the long message, but just want to say thanks for not being that guy. He just never felt comfortable, was unrelatable. So he says, I'm not that guy. I remember having a good laugh on the call with him. We joked around. We felt like we just messed about. And then he wanted to sign up later. Really straightforward. And he goes away from a call feeling good about it, as opposed to feeling like crap because I made him prodded his pain points and made him feel like a worthless turd. You just don't need to do that. And people are getting wise to this. People know the tactics. And as soon as you start asking these painful questions, people are like, oh, I see what he's trying to do here. He's trying to manipulate me into feeling bad. And it just doesn't work. So when you get this right, here's what happens. This is Brittany. She's in MLM. Well, she actually owns her own MLM company. It's like sign painting parties in Canada. Pretty cool. When she joined me, she had 27 distributors in her company. And then I think it was 7 or 8 weeks later, she sent me this message saying, I'm now at 41 and the goal for the year was 40. And I don't think she's looked back since. Here's another one. Richard, I did it again. Something's definitely shifted. Third client signed up last night. If I continue at this rate, I won't have to renew my contract. Thank you. Thank you. So this is someone who came to me who'd done all of those programs. They'd done the programs. I won't name them, but those programs where you pay 10K and beyond to take their program, and they teach you to prod pain points. And if you go to them asking for help, all they basically say is, yeah, you didn't dig into the pain enough. They've got to really feel that pain or they won't sign up. And I am raising my hand here and saying that is crap. That is not true. These days, it's more about credibility and a couple of other things, and we're going to cover that later. Here's another one. My messenger's blowing up on my emails. It's going to be a long night. I've already closed one for 1,500. Should have 4 signups by the end of the night. This guy ended up making just 20K from one promotion, which is a combination of that strategy of preeminence by posting on Facebook in the right way. Then the people who contacted him, he then signed them up. Really straightforward. But knowing how to speak to them when he does contact them is the key between actually signing them up and both parties feeling good about it, or like the guy we just saw before, that guy, the Kanban board workflow guy, he basically had an open goal. The guy came to him and was like, hey, I've got my Trello boards and my workflows and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I'd love if you could help me. If he'd just helped him, he probably would have had a new client. He basically had an open goal and put it wide. Here's another one. This is quite a long testimonial. You see it a bit highlighted. Since doing the course, this is my ecosystem. I've had a 100% conversion in my leads. So Paul's actually a web designer. And I don't know how many 100% conversion is, but he told me he signed up 4 people this week. So I think it's probably at least 10. Now I'm sure there'll be a point when he doesn't have a 100% conversion, but still pretty impressive. Another one here, Michael. Michael's a dating coach who had no program, no experience online, never sold anything or hardly ever sold anything. Since doing Richard's program, I've signed up an increasing number of people to my coaching program and never had to spend a dime on online ads because of a strategy of preeminence, becoming an authority in your prospect's world by posting in the right way on Facebook. Then when people come to you, you know what to do to speak to them in the right way instead of just being like, okay, my only strategy is just asking endless painful questions and seeing what happens. Final one. Richard is the real deal, and I wish I'd found him this time last year before I spent 10K on something that didn't deliver. So this is just to prove that even if you're in the position where you've done all those programs, like, I've done all the systems, I've done all everything, and it just doesn't work. You can still make it work if you come to me and ask me for help. And I'll explain why that is later. So, but first, here's what we're going to be talking about. The 5 things that your prospect needs in order to buy from you. If you don't have all 5, you're going to struggle, especially on a high ticket program. 6 reasons your customers say, let me think about it instead of buying. There's a rite of passage pretty much every salesperson has to go through. Pretty much all of my clients and me as well, we've had to go through this process. And you're probably not going to sell anything or not much until you start doing this. When to talk about pain and when not to. So I've just talked about pain quite a lot in the context of a sales call. That was the wrong way to do it. But it's not like that you can never ever talk about pain, and it's wrong to do that. There's a right time and a right way to do it, and there's a wrong time and a wrong way to do it. We'll cover that. I'm going to explain why are sales calls like icebergs, and how can this knowledge make sales for you before you even pick up the phone. When we talk about how you can constantly move your prospect closer to the sale instead of going around in circles, and how to know when a prospect is ready to buy. And there's no point pitching before this point because you're going to waste your time. So what a lot of people are doing is they're kind of going round and round in circles on their call, asking these painful questions and thinking, is it time yet? Well, I've been taught that about 45 minutes in, that's the time to make a pitch. It's about 40 minutes in, I'll make my pitch now. And they wonder why they don't make a sale, because they don't know when the right time is. And the reality is, if you understand the principles, if you understand how to read your prospect, that right time might be an hour and a half in, or it might be 10 minutes in. I've sold people like 6K course after 20 minutes, 15 minutes of speaking to them, sometimes after a few messages on Messenger, because of where they're at. But you don't apply the same blanket method to every single person, because every person is unique and different. So, by the way, just remind you, if you're watching this live, by all means, leave comments, ask questions as we go. I'm keeping an eye, although I've got a presentation going, I've got my phone right here. So I'm just keeping an eye on the comments. So by all means, ask, and I'll keep up with them and answer you as you go, because you can ask me questions about your specific situation. I'll do my best to answer while we're going. So first of all, if you don't know me, that's me, Richard Fletcher, with my wife Alice on our wedding day last year. We live in the north of England with our somewhat grumpy black cat, Gwen, who's even grumpier these days because she doesn't like other cats, and we just got a kitten 2 weeks ago, which she's not happy about at all. And our tortoise, Wilson. But let's be honest, you couldn't give a rat's ass. You couldn't give a monkeys about that, could you? What you do care about is, am I credible? Like, can I actually help you out? Or am I yet another dude on the internet who's like, let me tell you about business, but has no business teaching anyone? So in a previous life, I used to be a dating coach, and I had a really terrible time trying to stand out from all of those pickup instructors. And I ended up going through 4 different rebrands until I stumbled across the concept of the no game principle. So game is all the stuff that guys are taught they need in order to meet the girl of their dreams, which are, hilarious pickup lines and demonstrating value and being an alpha male and all of these kind of drama plot lines and stuff you have to run. And for a lot of these guys, including myself, they may have had some success, but most of them, even if you had a bit of success, you didn't really get to where you wanted to be. So for those guys, the idea that they could get where they wanted without having to learn all this stuff was very appealing indeed. So it took me 5 days to build a new website and start driving traffic to it. And this time my results were different. A guy signed up to my 8-week program immediately for $5K, when previously I couldn't sell anyone for $500 a month, and more followed. So in this presentation, I'm going to share exactly how can you get similar results for your business. How can you get people so when they come on a call with you, they want to buy immediately? I'll give you an example. This year, I signed up with someone in another coaching program where the call was terrible. So how I got in touch with this person was, this person made some posts on Facebook which said, like, we're on track to make several million this year in our business, in our coaching business. And I was like, wow, I'm not making that much money. They obviously know something I don't. And then the cogs started whirring in my mind and I didn't do anything. And about a month later, I saw another post from this person saying, here's the great results of some of my clients. This person has now gone from 20K to 100K a month. This person's gone from 20K to 200K. This person's done this. This person's done that. I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. Maybe I'll just send this person a message and see what's up. So we end up on a call, and the call was so weird. Like, I didn't feel like the person cared about me. I felt like they were reading off a script, just trying to ask painful questions and prod my pain points. And I found it really annoying. However, I'd already decided in my head before we started the call, I was like, this person in their program has something that I don't know, and I need to know it. I want to know what it is. If this program's between like 5 and 10K, I'm going to sign up, unless like something goes really wrong on the sales call. So the sales call was really awkward. I didn't feel like the person understood me, cared about me. I was almost to the point where I was like, do you even want me to sign up? Yeah, I ended up signing up anyway because of this. And this is like the greatest version of the strategy of preeminence you can think of. It's like the person comes on a sales call already willing to buy and will buy in spite of you. As opposed to the person turns up, I think a lot of you, the person's turned up on a sales call and they barely know who you are, especially if you're running that strategy of like the Facebook ad to the webinar, which you then book a call from, because the person's probably seen one ad, watched a 30-minute webinar, and then booked a call with you, and they barely know anything about you. much harder to sell people in that scenario. You can still do it, and if you've got your webinar absolutely nailed, you can still make it work, no problem. But it's something to think about. This is another good reason for branding yourself on Facebook on your personal feed as well, because when people see ads from you, these days more and more, they're going to take your name and they're going to search Facebook for it and find your personal profile and see, who is this person? Are they credible? And if you've got a load of great posts and a load of really good social proof, people commenting, testimonials, loads of activity on your feed, it makes you more credible. If you've just got like drunken shots of you in Cancun vomiting down yourself, not so credible. So let's talk about the 5 things that prospects need in order to buy from you. So these 5 things, they remain constant no matter what you're selling. And they are, first of all, they've got to accept they've got a problem and accept that they can't fix this themselves. So I'm going to show you a silly example on this in a minute, but most of you are struggling on this. Like, you don't realize it, but you're getting people on the phone who are just like, yeah, I thought I'd just jump on to, see what you're about, see what you're offering. I thought it'd be cool. And they don't really accept they've got a problem. And if they do accept they've got a problem, they don't accept that they can't fix it themselves. So if I get someone on a call and I'm like, okay, cool. So what's your, so you're making $2,000 a month and you'd like to get to 20 grand a month. What's your current plan to get there? Great question to ask, by the way. Write that down. What's your current plan to get there? Where are you now? Where would you like to be? What's your current plan to get there? If they come up, you'll often find that they'll do one or two things. They'll either give you an answer that's like, I don't have one, I don't know, which is great because now you're at the point where you can say to them, all right, so what you're saying to me is you don't really have a strategy. You don't have a clear plan to get there, and that's why you can't do it. And they'll go, yes. Right, now they've admitted it, they can't fix it themselves. But if what a lot of them will say things like, oh, well, I'm just going to carry on with my business, and, I'm sending emails out, and my email list is building. It's nearly at 300 people now. And another coach told me to start a YouTube channel. That's a great way of branding. Some people have got millions of followers on there, and that makes them loads of money. So I'm going to start a YouTube channel and get lots of followers and do it all organically. That's what you teach organic, don't you, Richard? That's what you teach, right? It's how getting followers organically. And I'm like, no, that is not what I'm teaching at all. And I've got to then take where they're at now and get them to admit that actually this strategy they've got, yes, they can do it, but it's not going to work. But if it works at all, it's not going to work fast. And they need to go down a different road if they want results, especially if they want fast results. But you've got to make them do that before you actually make your pitch. Otherwise, they're just going to be like, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing. I don't really need your help. We've talked about this already, the strategy of preeminence. They've got to see you as an authority. If they don't see you as an authority, if they don't see you as like an expert in this particular world, you're going to have a hard time signing them up. They've got to believe that you're the best option to help them fix their specific problem. So if we go back to our guy before, where we're talking about the Trello boards and whatever, the prospect goes onto a call and he's like, I've got my Trello boards here and I've got my workflows. Can you look at them? I'd like to know, like, what am I doing wrong? What can I help? What do I need help with? And instead, the guy goes into generic pain points. What would life be like if you had more time with your family or whatever? And he's like, yeah, it would be great. Yeah, but can you tell me about my Trello boards? And he never got into the specifics of their problem. So you've got to go into the specifics of the person's problem and really explain, okay, this is why you're getting the results you're getting. So let's say you're a dating coach and you help guys out of the friend zone. The guy's like, well, you need to be asking questions like, okay, so tell me exactly what's happening. Tell me the last time you went on a date with someone, what happened? How did you meet them in the first place? Okay, you matched on Tinder. You arranged to meet in a restaurant and the date went well. You had lots of laughing and joking. How did it end? Okay, so she said she was going to text you and then didn't and then blocked your number. Is this a common thing? Yeah, this happens pretty much every time. Okay, I know what's going on here. So what's happening is when you're matching with her, when you're meeting with her, you're doing this, and this. This is causing her to see you as not a credible option for her. And she knows within 2 minutes of a date starting, she's already going to blow you off at the end, not in a good way. But she obviously plays nicey nice with a date because she doesn't want to tell you that, because obviously she doesn't want to be rude, and she's had experiences before where she was honest in that way with guys and they reacted really badly. So she just wants to get through the date without you hopefully slashing them into pieces or whatever. So what we need to do is to get you to the point where you are not doing that anymore, where as soon as she meets you, she's like, wow, this is the kind of guy I could spend the rest of my life with. This is the kind of guy who's credible. This is the kind of guy I want to be with. And the way we're going to do that is A, B, C, D, E, and F, whatever. But you can explain their specific problem and why they're suffering from it and what they need to do to fix it. in a really believable way, instead of just being generic and making them feel bad. Because ultimately, making someone feel bad doesn't guarantee that they're going to hand over money. Like, you could see someone like some obese person walking down the street and run up to them and be like, "Hey, fatty, why are you so fat? You need to lose some weight." They're not going to give you money to help them lose weight. They're just going to be upset and offended. So upsetting and offending people isn't a good strategy. You need to actually show them that you can help them. And finally, sounds obvious, but they want your offer. So I found that when I converted my offer, I used to have an offer called the 90-day challenge, where basically I'd fix your business in 90 days and we work one-on-one. And now I've got the ecosystem, which is 6 weeks long, so half the time. And it's the same price. So you would think that the 90-day challenge was a better offer, but it's not, because people want the result in half the time. And they think, yeah, do you know what? I say really overtly upfront on the calls, I'm like, look, you're going to have to work here. This isn't just like a free ticket. It's not a get out of jail free card. You're going to have to work here, and you're going to have to put a lot of thought in, but I'm with you every step of the way. We're going to make it happen, as long as you're committed. But I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to ride the bike for you, but I'm going to help you. So people can see, okay, I can probably get on board with that for 6 weeks, but 3 months sounds like a lot of time. I'm not sure I can be bothered with that. So a lot of you right now got offers that you think are great, where your audience is kind of like, nah, like, I'm just not interested, or it's me too, everyone else is offering that, or it's not believable. Like, I see a lot of people who are offering these, like, become happy and self-actualize and never feel insecurity ever again, and feel 100% confident and happy all the time, and never ever have a bad day ever again in your life. I'm like, that sounds great, but I do not believe for a second you're capable of getting that, because it's just too big a sell. So here's a silly example of this. I have no watch. I want a watch. There's me there with no watch. Look how sad I am. If I had a watch, I would feel like this. That's me trying to look happy. It said I look like a buddy. I said I look like an axe murderer, but let's pretend that's me looking happy. So I've got a problem, because right now I'm this, and I'm at stage 1. The prospect accepts he has a problem. I need a watch, and I don't have one. Now, I can't make a watch myself, so I'm already at stage 2. I accept that I cannot fix a problem myself. So let's say I wander on over into your watch shop and I start looking at brand new Omegas. And you come up to me as a salesperson, you're like, so how does it feel not to have a watch? All your friends have watches and you don't. That must really suck, right? They're all successful bosses and they've got their, like, brand new Omegas or whatever, and you don't. That must really suck. That must hurt. You'd be like, I guess. And where else is this affecting your life? Are you late for meetings because you don't know the time? Is it possible you might lose your job as a result? Are you late on dates to meet your girlfriend? Maybe she's going to leave you because she thinks you don't care about her. Now, if someone started questioning you in that way, that'd be pretty weird, wouldn't it? Really, really weird. Yet, this is the way that all of us have been told to sell. Now, if you've done these courses, again, I'm not going to name them, but this is the way that most of you are selling, is to be like, how is this going to feel? Where else is this affecting your life? And to someone who already understands their problem, all it does is annoy them. Now, you get me on a call and you start doing that, you're going to annoy me. Because I only sign up for programs these days if I'm like, there's a gap in my knowledge. Let's say I want to get better. One thing I'm rubbish at the moment, maybe by the time you watch this video, I might be brilliant, but one thing I'm rubbish at right now is Instagram. I just don't get it. I don't get how to have more followers. I don't get how it works. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I might go to someone and buy an Instagram course where they teach me how to do it. But that's not a pain point for me. It's like, do you know what? I'm just diversifying, because I know if Facebook shuts down, I've got something else. But it's not a pain point. It's not like, oh my God, your wife's going to leave you if you don't figure out Instagram. You need to do this right now. It's not an urgent thing as such. It's something that I want to do to improve myself, to improve my business. So instead of trying to annoy me by putting pain points, what's going to work better is if you inspire me to say, hey, you're doing great in your business right now, Richard, but your business could be doing even better if you got your Instagram game figured out. Here's an example of someone else who's doing what you're doing on Facebook, and I helped them with their Instagram. Now this person's got 100,000 followers, and they're making this much money from Instagram alone, and it only took 3 months. Here's another person just like you. They've got 200,000 followers now, and this other person's got 50,000 followers, and they're making this much money as a result. I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. So you could do this yourself. We're only 30 minutes a day if you want to put in the time, and I know you've got other things going on. This can work for you. I've helped other people. There's no reason it can work for you. Is that something that you'd be interested in? I'd be like, yes, absolutely. Then it's just a matter of talking about the deal and the logistics, like, okay, how much time do I need to spend on this? How much money does a program cost? That sort of thing. It could be a really quick sale for you. But if you start going on about pain points, I'll be like, can't be arsed with this. So, they're going to end up going somewhere else. So it's not about digging into pain for the sake of it. This is what a lot of you are doing. You've been taught to come up with a massive list of painful questions that are relevant to your subject matter. And then you just ask them all. And you I think like a lot of you, I'm thinking of a client I've got right now who's she's got her list of questions, and I listened to a call and she's asking all these questions, but I'm like, why did you ask this question then this one? She goes, well, it's a painful question, but I'm like, it wasn't relevant. It didn't move you further forward. I don't understand why you went from Mr. This. It wasn't logical. So it's not about just asking random painful questions. It's not like throwing mud at a wall and hoping something sticks. It's about making someone realize they've got a serious problem that isn't going to fix itself. Once they realize that, you can make your pitch. That might be 10 minutes in, it might be an hour and a half in. They might be a tough nut to crack, and they might be really stubborn with ego. And some cases, you might just let them go because they just can't admit it, and you don't even make an offer. But they've got to accept that, hey, I've got a problem here. Or it might not be a problem. Like for me, Instagram isn't a problem as such. It's just I'd really like to get better at Instagram one day. I'd like to have a big Instagram following. That's something that's like a goal, a nebulous goal for the future. It's not a problem, but it's a desire in my mind. I'd like to get that handled at some point. Just because it's an extra area where people can find me, and it helps protect me if Facebook goes down. And it's something else I'd like to know about. It makes me a better marketer, which makes me a better coach. But it's not something that's bothering me right now. So you digging into pain isn't going to work. It's not a serious problem, but it's okay, you're not going to learn this any other way, because I've had loads of people, they go away and they go, okay, I'm just going to carry on posting every day and putting hashtags out there. And they're still at 350 followers 6 months later. You need a better strategy than that. And you're not going to get one on your own, because the way everyone else is teaching to do things doesn't work anymore. If you explain what the strategy is and I need your help to do it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll sign up. Makes sense. So if someone comes to you and is already fully aware of their problem, digging into their pain is a total waste of time. And in many cases, it actually hurts your chances of selling. Best case scenario is it doesn't make it any worse. And people are just kind of yes, it's painful. Yes, it's bad. Okay, whatever. But they're like, can we get to the point, please? So if, however, you came up to me in the watch shop and you asked, hi there, are you looking for anything specific here, or are you just browsing? We might ensue in the following conversation. Yeah, I'd like a dress watch that I can wear with a suit. Okay, would you like a classic style or something more modern and funky? Classic, please. Great. What kind of price range were you thinking of? Well, I don't want to spend thousands, but I do want a nice watch. Okay, anything else you'd like in a watch before I make some recommendations? Well, I have tiny little girly wrists, which is true for me, by the way. So a watch needs to fit on there. I don't want it spinning round and round in circles. Also, I don't like loads of dials and stuff. I do prefer a more clean design. Perfect. So I've got a couple of watches for you right here. First of all, there's this classic Gucci watch at £650. As you can see, it's got a lovely, clean, simple design that will never go out of fashion. You can wear it with pretty much anything. You can wear it with shorts and t-shirt and flip-flops on a sunny day, and it'll work. But especially with a suit, it's going to look really, really stylish. You're going to look great in the boardroom. And obviously, we can adjust the links to fit any size wrist, so you don't have to worry about that. Or if you prefer, and I know you said that you don't want to spend thousands, but this Omega is beautiful. It's never, ever, 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 ever going to go out of fashion. If you wear this with a nice suit, you're going to be so respected in the boardroom. People are going to be like, wow, that's a lovely watch. You're going to get comments on it all the time, and you're going to look incredible. And people who know watches, they respect Omega as being a brand that watch connoisseurs own. Every watch connoisseur owns at least one Omega. So it's a bit more expensive than the Gucci, but it's still great value at $1,900, because this is a watch that's going to carry on going long after we're all gone. You can pass it down to your children, you can pass it down to their children, and so on. And they can be like, oh yeah, my granddad had this watch in 2019 and he took it here and he took it there, and there's a story behind it, and it's an heirloom and people can be proud of it. So this is more of an investment rather than just being a watch. So which of these options do you like best? Or would you like me to find you something else? So if you went through that sales pitch, there's a very good chance you'd be able to sell a more expensive watch, because you understood my needs, you found me solutions to my exact problem, rather than just be like, this is the watch I like, you need to buy it. And at no point did you hit any pain points. Instead, you showed me, you inspired me how much better my life could be with the more expensive watch in it. I'm going to look incredible in my suit. I'm going to be respected by watch buffs. I'm going to be respected in the boardroom. People are going to comment on it all the time. I can pass this down to my future generations, and they'll tell stories about my granddad instead of me being forgotten after I'm gone. So suddenly a couple of grand for a watch, it sounds like a pretty good deal, doesn't it? So let's do some troubleshooting. Let's take a look at some common sales call problems and what to do about it. So number one, being too nicey nice. This was a problem with the person I said before was like, hey, I signed up 4 people. I signed up 3 people already and I might be able to quit my job. Well, that person signed up 4 people. That was in January. After doing all of the big programs, struggling for at least 2 or 3 years, trying to figure this out and not being able to sign anyone up. I kept telling her, and eventually it clicked. You're being too nicey nice. This is a problem for pretty much everyone, but especially so for women. Women are brought up more so to be people pleasers than men, but it's still a problem for men too, where we don't want to like kind of step out. We don't want to offend people. So we just kind of go along and we don't want to rock the boat. But when you're the expert, when you're the authority, you've got to call people out on their shit. So if someone's like, yeah, do you know what? I'm not going to take your advice. I'm not going to use your program. I'm just going to carry on going on dates with people because, maybe I've just not met the right girl yet. And eventually she'll come along and she'll understand me. Then we'll be together forever. And I don't need to take your program. She turns up when you're not looking for her, right? All that kind of stuff. If you just be like, okay, well, good luck. Let me know if you want to take my program. You're not serving them. You need to call them out on their shit. Like, come on, what you're talking about there is ridiculous. Now, what I use here is something I call path A and path B. So I don't actually say, okay, you're being an idiot. Okay, you mustn't do that. But what I'll say is, hey, you can absolutely take that path if you want. But what's going to happen if you go down that path is you are not going to fix your problem. You're going to go da-da-da-da-da, and this bad thing will happen, and you'll be like 40 years old, still single. You'll be 50 years old, still single. And the older you get, you'll probably not get any more attractive. Your options are narrowing every year that goes by. So better to fix the problem now, right? I'm going to tell you, you can absolutely take that path if you want, but it's not going to be a happy ending for you. This is what so many guys do. Or you can get the problem handled now, and then you don't have to worry about it again. Which one would you like to do? So you're kind of tough. You're kind of, tough with them, but not mean, not like getting into a fight with them where you're like, you can't do that, you idiot. And then you get into an argument. But people aren't brave enough to call people out because they don't want to offend them. They're scared of losing the sale. And what happens is they end up with it's like death by 1,000 cuts. The person's like, this sounds great. Let me go away and check my finances and I'll get back to you. Or let me go away and think about it. I'll get back to you. And yes, that was a great call. This person's definitely signing up. And then they disappear off the face of the planet and they don't come back to you. And eventually, after so many of these calls, you're like, all right, something has to change here. No more Mr. Nice Guy. And I guarantee, I bet most of you watching this right now are thinking, oh, no, that's not me. I'm fine. I don't have this problem. And I will be willing to bet you probably do. Number 2 is following the script or the process religiously instead of following principles. So like I said before about, after a sales call should last about 45 minutes. So I'll make my pitch after about 40 and I'll just ask lots of painful questions and I'll follow the script no matter what's going on. Instead of understanding the principles, which is I need the person to understand they've got a problem, they can't fix it themselves, and they need my help to do it. And then I need to make myself credible and then I can sell. Same thing, going around in circles instead of moving forward towards a sale. So it's about understanding where you want to be. Where do I want to be? So you understand, okay, this is where the person's at now. Where do they want to be? What's their ideal goal for them? Okay, why can't they get there themselves? What's stopping them? Okay, do they understand that they can't get there themselves? Do they understand that I can help them? Do they understand why it's important to get there? Okay, they understand all these things. Tick, tick, tick. Right, I can make my pitch. And I'm not going to teach you how to pitch on this call. It's really, really important. It's part of my program. But that in itself is we'd be going on for hours if we talked about that here. Not getting the prospect to accept they have a problem and they can't fix it themselves. We talked about that. And not showing the prospect that you can fix their problem. So, like I said before, it's no good just simply making them realize they've got a problem and they can't fix it. You need to show them that you're the one who can help them do it. And finally, not making an attractive offer. We talked about it before. It might well be that you're doing all of this right, but your offer sucks and you don't realize it. So, Richard, what about objection handling? You might be yelling at your screen right now. And the reality is you just don't get many objections when you do it like this. When you do it right, those objections like, I can't afford it, let me think about it, they're quite rare. They do still happen, but much less frequently, because what those objections really mean are, I am not certain enough that you can help me fix this problem, or I am not certain enough that I even want to fix this problem. I'm not certain enough it's important enough to me. That's what they're really saying when they say these things like, yeah, do you know what, it sounds good, but I've got a lot on right now, I'm a bit busy, let me get back to you in a couple of months, and then I'll think about it then. It just means it's not that big a deal to me. And it means that you didn't do a good enough job earlier in the call of making them realize how important it is and how much you can help them. So what you instead get, instead of objections, is logistical questions. So how much time do I need to invest each week in this? How much support do you offer? What if I can't do it? Do you have a guarantee? Do you offer any kind of payment plan? These questions are really easy to answer. You just tell them the info they need, reassure them they're supported and getting the result they want. Reassure them that whatever problems they've got, you're there to help them out. And then you enroll them. Simple. So a quick recap. You've got to accept they've got a problem, or they've got to accept they've got a problem. They accept they can't fix it themselves. They've got to see you as an authority. They've got to believe that you're the best option to help them fix their specific problem. And they've got to want your offer. And if you don't have all those things, you're going to struggle. So this is why the ecosystem works so nicely, because it's like I said before about the iceberg. 90% of the iceberg is underwater. Well, but when you see the iceberg, you see the top bit and you think, oh, that's the iceberg. You don't think about all the bit underneath. And it's the same with sales calls. 90% of a sales call is underneath the water. In other words, 90% of a sales call happens before you even get on the phone. So if you're doing it right, people come to you and they already think, do you know what? I want to sign up with this guy. I like what he's doing. Or I want to sign up with this girl. I like what she's doing. And they're kind of already thinking, do you know what? I want to sign up. And all they're really kind of doing is going, I want to just ask a few questions to find out that this person can help me, number 4 there. And I want to check that the offer's right. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to help you fix your dating life, and then you're like, it's $100,000 for my 8-week program, we're going to be like, that's not a good offer. But if you're like, yeah, I'll help you fix your dating life, it's going to be $5,000, you won't have this problem again, you'll be able to meet your miss right, happy ever after. That's what we all want, isn't it? You're like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But it's because you've done the pre-work in positioning yourself as an authority, showing people, doing trainings like this training here. Hopefully you've seen a bunch of value here that you've not seen elsewhere. Maybe you spent like $10,000 on programs yourself, and you listen to this here and you're like, nobody's ever said this to me before, and he's teaching me this stuff for free. So this is pretty awesome. This guy obviously knows his stuff. This is obviously not another one of those fake business coaches who's like literally just set up last week and knows nothing about online marketing, because those people wouldn't be capable of giving this level of information out. Hopefully you're thinking that, fingers crossed. But it's about being able to put trainings like this out, being able to put testimonials and case studies out and show that you've helped people, show that you're an example of what you teach. Then over time, eventually people are going to end up in your inbox and be like, can you help me out, Richard? Can you help me out, Susan, or whatever? And then it's so much easier to sell them. So what next? So if you're not selling for as much as you want, or as much as you want, it could be for any number of reasons. It might be that your sales conversations aren't good enough. And that's a whole bunch of sub-problems within that. It could be your prospects don't respect you enough as an authority. It could be your offer needs improving. It could be some combination of any or all of these, or even something else. But here's your problem right now. You don't know which of these problems apply to you, maybe all of them. And even if you do, it's highly unlikely you actually know how to fix it, because otherwise you'd have fixed it already, wouldn't you? So I've said this already, but what's missing in all these high-level programs, despite the high price they charge, is yes, they give you the strategy, and some strategies are better than others, but they never take the time to tell you how does it apply to you. And that's because they're obsessed with scaling. These companies are like, yay, we made $2 million a month last year, and now we're going for $3 million a month. It's like, okay, that's great for you, but how does that help me? Because they know that if they give you lots of personalized help, it's really hard for them to scale. Well, I don't really care about that. I'm like, if I make 20, 30 grand a month, pretty happy with that. I'm not obsessed with scaling. I don't need to make $1 million a month or whatever. It really doesn't bother me. I've got everything I need in life. I'm making all the money I want. I can do whatever I want, not answerable to anyone, buy whatever I want, go wherever I want. Why do I need more money? It doesn't apply. It doesn't work for me. I'd rather have fewer customers that are really, really happy. And my most recent customer, I've been listening to her sales calls back and forth. We iteratively go through them. So I was like, okay, you need to fix this, and this, and go and do this. Then she'll come back and be like, okay, you fix this, but now you need to change this. And I literally, like the last call she did, I listened to the entire thing, and like I kept on pausing it. I'd be like, I send her a voice note on Messenger, be like, okay, we're 2 minutes and 1 second in, and you've gone off a rails here. I don't know why you're talking about this. You need to bring it back and talk about this instead. Okay, we're 6 minutes in now. What you need to be doing here is this, but what you've done is this. And she's like going through it all, and she's like, I sent about 25 messages that day. Took about 3 hours to listen to one hour sales call. And she's like, I've taken notes on everything. This is amazing. Nobody has ever done this for me before. No one's taken the time to sit down and tell me how this applies to me. This is why people aren't getting the results, because ultimately no one's willing to sit down with you and say, this is what you need to do specifically. This is how you need to improve. And we're talking about, this is a person who knows all the strategy. This is a person who knows how to do a sales call, yet in between that knowledge and actually speaking to another human being on the phone, something's getting lost. And that's where I come in. So like I said, that's not how I work. These people, they refuse to listen to recordings of your sales calls to give you any feedback. You get on, there's a weekly Q&A call with like 50 other people, and you get on with them. It might be like 5 weeks in the program, and you've been talking to them every single week, asking them stuff. And 5 weeks on, you tell them about some problem you're having with your sales call, and they'll say, yeah, what was your offer again? In other words, I've no idea who you are. It's like ringing up a call center where you get a different operator every time, and you've got to start from scratch explaining your situation. It's really frustrating and ultimately not in the slightest bit helpful. So many of you have invested tens of thousands in these high-level programs, and what have you got to show for it? Yeah, you learn some useful info. Maybe you got the odd extra enrollment, but ultimately you are nowhere near the level you want to be. So the reason my students make such fast progress is because of the unique specific feedback. So I take the time to understand exactly what's going on in your business, and I'll tell you what you need to do to fix it. I don't see anyone else doing this, or at least no one else is capable. And we go back and forth iteratively until you're at the level you want to be at. Well, until we've imagine your sales calls or your business as a whole has been a bucket with loads of holes in it, and you fill it with water and water comes out the holes. Well, we plug those leaks one by one until there's no more holes. But no one else is one to do that with you. You've got to get the content and figure out how to do it yourself, which is really, really hard and often doesn't work. So here's my offer to you right now. Send me a private message on Facebook. Let's have a chat. So I'm considering, and I'd like your opinion on this, let me know in the comments or whatever, or in private message. I'm considering setting up a brand new program which focuses purely on sales calls, because there's a lot of people who, I spend a lot of time on this on my program. There's a lot of people who need help with it. There's a lot of people who are good at these, but could still be a lot better. And there's a lot of people who are like, do you know what? I don't need I don't really want or don't need the full aspect of the ecosystem. Like, I'm happy with my offer. I'm getting leads in, but I feel like I could be converting more. So I'm considering setting a brand new program that focuses purely on sales calls and has this focus and has me to listen to your calls and tell you exactly what to do so you're making that extra conversion. Because obviously, even if you only improve your conversion slightly, that's worth a lot of money if you've got a high-level program. So I'm throwing that out there right now. If you're interested in being involved in the pilot for it, let me know. Let me know if this is interest to you, or if it's not of interest to you. I'd be really curious to let me know what let me know what you think. Yeah. Otherwise, just send me a message and I'll tell you exactly what's going on and I'll point you in the right direction. Now, if you don't believe me, go to my call booking page. It's magicsourcemarketing.com/book call. I'm not offering to book a call with you just yet, but have a look on there. There is loads and loads of testimonials of people who had a chat with me who was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've got so much clarity in my business. I now know where I'm stuck and how to move forward. I know exactly what I need to do now. Richard gave me so much value. Even though I didn't sign up, Richard gave me so much value. I've never had this on another call. We laughed so much on the call. It was a lot of fun. It was not like any other call I've had before. So yes, if you want to invest in my help to get to the next level fast, great. We'll talk about it. But if not, also fine. You ain't going to get any tedious sales pressure tactics from me. I mean, it would be pretty, pretty hypocritical on my part to go through the sales tactics after all I've said here. So that's the end of this training. Genuinely hope it was useful for you. If you do have any questions, ask in the comments or send me a private message. And thanks a lot. So I'm just going to have a look through the comments now and see what I missed, because I was looking at my phone, but it doesn't seem to have refreshed it. So Dave says preeminence precedes a call or gets established on a call. Both is true here. So ideally, if you, I'm going to close this. I'm going to show myself now. Let's see, show. So, oops. So yeah, I'm going to show myself. So yeah, great question, Dave. So the way I do things, I establish preeminence by putting out content just like this. Like I might be wrong, but I would be amazed if you've seen anyone else give this level of content for free on Facebook. So anybody watching this who's got this problem is going to be like, wow, this is awesome. I've never seen anything like this before. Hopefully you might even be like, this is better than the content I've seen from like all these other people. And it's free. So this helps establish preeminence. Me posting testimonials, case studies, me posting useful content, all of that establishes preeminence. So when you get on a call with me, you're like, I like this guy already. I think he can help me. But yes, you also establish it on the call too by the fact that you come across energetically as an authority. I didn't really mention that, but not being so nicey nice, but coming across as that like authority figure where you're like, yes, I can help you. Yes, I'm a nice person, but I can help you, and I'm not going to take any shit, and I'm not going to let you mess me around, and I'm in control here. That's part of preeminence, and another part of preeminence is when they tell you their specific problem, you can give them specific help for it and tell them exactly what's going on. Let's see, any other questions here? Okay, I think that was about it. Paul says Instagram is good for creatives. Yeah, I mean, I think there's people, business coaches doing a great job on Instagram, but I ain't one of them. Maybe one day in the future. All right, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Obviously, if you're watching on the replay, you've got any more questions, by all means, ask them, and I'll come back to them later.